Yeah, good evening, everyone. We just thought that we would do a small meeting on, especially for the people who haven't been into rehab before, or into AA meetings or NA meetings, is to give you the basis of the program of how it works and how it should work. And how it should work is as following. And I'm going to read it and then comment on it, just so the people who follow our page, and I really ask you people to spread this page, because with people being in lockdown, it's very difficult to get to a meeting. It's actually impossible to get to an AA meeting. And what we are seeing is more and more people from overseas, from South Africa, from all over the country, are relapsing. We just had one today, 6 years sober, and the man has relapsed because he hasn't got that support. And we need to get people, and it's so important that we're all on the same page. So I thought I'd just do quickly, because we finished our evening meeting, and I'll just do quickly of how it works. And legal cigarettes. Anyone who wants, you can just phone Graham. Okay, and this, it's page 58
What's
of
this thing doing now? Why is it doing this?
Hey, how's it good?
How's it, Mr. Hall?
Lekker, man, lekker. Great to see you.
You?
Great to see you, Adrian. Yeah, you look tops. Let's see the baba, man. Oh, you look tops, man. Tops. Hello, Michelle. Maybe we can just give a little basis of how it works, and then people will know that when we say certain things, then you'll be able to understand what we're saying. Because like us addicts and alcoholics, we've got our own lingo. I want to first start off with, though, I have been very pro, and you may think this is weird coming from an alcoholic, but I've been very pro the opening of bottle stores. I've been very pro that let people smoke and let people drink. I'm not talking about alcoholic drinking now. I'm talking about drinking. I can imagine my parents at the age of 70 having a glass of wine. Now, my early day didn't have much wine, but my dad, he knew how to finish a bottle of wine. Excuse me. Sitting there, having their cigarette. After dinner, they got their routine. When you get older, your moms and dads, we can't send cigarettes, but we can always make a plan. Diane, that's been naughty. You're trying to make us into criminals, Diane. You're not criminals anymore. We used to be. And they sitting there having a cigarette and having a glass of wine. They've done no wrong. Why should they be deprived in their twilight years? Who gives this government the right to deprive them? These are our parents who've raised us, who've gone through life and on life's terms and experienced probably hardships. And today they just want to relax. And yet they are being denied. Do you know how many people are dying as we speak of alcohol withdrawals? You cannot just stop alcohol if you've been drinking heavily for a long time. You have to go into detox. You try and get into a hospital, a state hospital, to detox. They call this an illness, but you can't go to hospital for it. You go to a private clinic now, if you've got the money, you can go in. If you go to a government hospital now, 99.9 are going to turn you away. So how can they call this a disease when it is a disease? And that is the problem that we are sitting with today. There's too much double standards. There's too much, okay, you can't drink, you can't have cigarettes, but while I'm watching, I'm seeing, excuse me, I'm seeing the amount of cigarette busts that are taking place now. And as an ex-drug squad son-up detective, to do a drug bust, you take your time and you bust, etc., etc. But we all know where the dealers are. How come so many cigarette places and transporters of cigarettes are being busted at the moment? Something's happening. Why can't they put that same energy into our children and into the drug dealers and catch the drug dealers so our children wouldn't become addicts? We're going for the soft targets, man. It's easier to lock a man up on a beach than it is to lock up a person or or people walking through some place where the cops may be a bit too afraid to go to. And I implore South Africa, why aren't our people, us South Africans, no matter the color, creed or breed, why aren't we standing up for the elderly? A woman in her 70s, she can't go and scuttle and make a move to get her wine or her alcohol, her wine or her cigarettes. They've lived with that all their lives. They're not causing hassles with anyone. They're not causing problems to anyone. All they want to do is carry on living their lives like they did. They should have a door-to-door service for the elderly. It's insane. It's insane that we are allowing this. And until we speak as one nation, and until we speak as one people together, we're going to get nowhere. Hi, Jasmine. Blessed to Tracy. We're going to get nowhere. Because all we are doing is prolonging the anger for our elderly. Our mothers and fathers who worked so hard and raised us. Okay, maybe some of us made wrong decisions. I made wrong decisions. But that shouldn't be depriving other elderly people. It sickens me. When I get a call today from this person who knows that person who's an alcoholic and she's in her 60s. That is very prevalent in society today. 60s and 70s of people becoming alcoholics. They lose their partner and they find solace in the bottle. And now they sit without their nightcap, etc. Come on, South Africa, let's do something. The talk is kind of over. Can't we stand together for once? And maybe I'm going to say something controversial now. Have the white people never been known to stand together? How it works in addiction recovery. Rarely have we seen a person fail, and I'm reading from the book here, who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to the simple program, usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. This is how it works of addiction recovery, written in 1935. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. If you can't be honest in recovery, you've got no chance. No chance at all. Their chances are less than average. So if you go on a 50-50, they're on the left-hand side of 50. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders. But many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. See how the honesty comes in all the time? How many times did we to our parents and to our loved ones lie, manipulate, steal? You name it, we did it. Con. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have, and that's sobriety, and are willing to go to any length to get it, not half measures, then you are ready to take certain steps. Now, a lot of people hear the steps and they say, what is the steps? What is the steps? And this is the aim of this 10 minutes I'm going to share with you, so that you will understand the lingo when the people speak about the steps. That it's not the steps up the mountain or the steps to go to Mavericks or something like that. Willing to go to any length, then they're ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way. And that's what you find in recovery centers. The kids come in there for the key to the door. The kids come in there because they got a criminal case coming up, or the kids come in there because mom and dad can't take it anymore. They're not coming in for the right reason. But we could not, with all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. 15 years ago, next month, if God spares me, 15 years. I can't believe where the time has gone. I was 41 when I came into recovery. I was 25 when I first came into recovery, but then I thought I knew it all. Today I'm a servant. I'm a servant carrying out a calling. That's all I am. Nothing else. And I take my recovery seriously, and I take my organization seriously. We beg of you to be fearless and thorough from this very start. You don't have to go through what we've been through, especially the youngsters. You don't have to go there. We've been the guinea pigs. We've been through there. We know how it works. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was null until we let go absolutely. It's like breaking up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your whatever they call them these days. You know, we've got so many. Okay, let's not go there. You must let go absolutely. It's called a breakup because it's broken. So we have to break with the drug and with the alcohol, otherwise we're still caught in it. We're still in a relationship with it, but we won't see you on Monday night, but we'll see you on Friday night, and we'll see you on Saturday night, and see you on Sunday night, and then we won't see you on Monday night again. It's broken. It's over. It's done. In the old words, it's fadala, hey Adrian? Remember that we deal with alcohol addiction. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power, and that one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. You can't be half pregnant. We can't go get half of this. We don't want, when we go to the Spur, okay, the Spur is closed, but if you go to a restaurant, you don't order half a steak. You order the full Monty. And that's the same as in addiction recovery. You either have to want this, you have to desire this, you have to have the passion for this. You must never stop talking about it, never stop carrying the message. How many people out there are carrying this message today? How many people are sober? And we know service is what keeps us more sober. God, service, our sobriety. Service means going out to the still suffering addict and alcoholic. How many excuses have we got? Can't make it. Don't want to go to a meeting. You know, girlfriend's hugging in your neck and you're sitting under a blankie and she says, no, my darling, don't go to a meeting tonight because we're so nice and warm. We can watch a movie and you can go next week. And then next week comes and the guy says, oh, my darling, let's watch another movie because it was so nice after the movie. And I'll go next week to my AA meeting. And so it goes until he gets to the 4th, 5th week and he turns around to lovey-dovey and he says, listen, you my love, I don't need AA meetings. I'm sober. You keep me sober. I won't drink again. And I can tell you, I can guarantee you in 2 weeks time, 2 weeks time, you'll be looking for a drink. And then the girl or the partner or the guy, which way you're looking at it, will say, but I told you to go to meetings. Meetings is to recharge our battery. We go to meeting to recharge us, to remind us exactly where we come from. We don't go to meetings to listen to war stories. Our war stories, we've done it. Most addicts and alcoholics have done the war stories. We've been through the hard times in life. Now we want sobriety. We want honesty. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Kelly. We want sobriety. We want honesty. Lija, how's it? Diane. We want honesty. So here it says, we ask his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Now there's 12 steps and I'm going to read you them quickly and then I'm done. Just so the people following you, and I ask again that you can share this on your walls. Because there's a lot of people in the closet that are alcoholics and addicts who don't want to reach out because they don't know where to reach out to, A, and B, they're too embarrassed to reach out. It's our duty to help them. We can never do the recovery for someone. Adrian, I'm very proud of you and your wife and your child. I'm very proud of you. Your mom always keeps me up to date. Very proud of you, my young man. Very proud of you. And we always must carry this message to the still suffering, because there's so many people suffering in silence. So many people suffering in silence. Give them a gap. Give them an opportunity to phone. You know, here on the rail farm, we've had lawyers, advocates, doctors. We've had Springboks all across the board. It doesn't discriminate against color, creed, or breed. Never has, never will. Even when I was fortunate enough to go speak overseas in America, Australia, Israel, I've spoken in a bunker. We were all the same. We just had different nationalities and different color of our skin. Nothing else. Once alcohol or drugs has got you, it's got you. And to beat it, you need God and you need people. We need a support system. We need a support structure. So I'll go through the 12 steps very quickly. We admitted that we were powerless over our alcohol or our drugs, that our lives had become unmanageable. We go into recovery not because we didn't like the alcohol and the drugs, but our lives had become unmanageable because of the alcohol and the drugs. And there's more to it. I'm only using alcohol and drugs, but there's pornography, there's gambling, there's you name it, it's there. And especially mainly with our young kids today. They love the cell phone. Ooh. Okay. Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves, and again, could restore us to sanity. What was sanity? Sanity was the opposite of the insanity that we caused. We were insane. If I think of some of the stuff that I did when I was using drugs and alcohol, yes, it was insanity. Mentalness. Step 3. And why are we doing this is so from the meetings tomorrow, you're going to hear the guys talk about the steps. We've got Lee J speaking tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to that. Lee J from England's going to be sharing. She's our social media manager. I just can't wait to hear her story. She's got an amazing story, amazing recovery. Sadly, she's in a wheelchair today, but hey, the star of note. She's our star. She keeps us all on our toes, even though she's in England. Don't ignore Lee Jason or Lee J if she sends you a message. She gets rather aggressive. Hey Lee, love you, man. Step number 3. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. So it doesn't say you must go to Jesus Christ as you understand Him. Number 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So where did I go wrong? What did I do? I basically take an inventory of my life. So I clear out the garbage and I write it all down. It takes pages and pages and pages and pages of where I went wrong, even where I went right. Remember, an alcoholic or addict is just not bad. I had very good jobs. I was a director of a company. I was a policeman for a long time. I had very good jobs. But I lost a lot of jobs. Hi, Vanessa. Step number 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. That's when we go confess to another man, and we know that God is hearing. And then that man just looks at you and says, thank you very much. You can go confess to the beggie on the street. You can go and confess to a church minister. You can go confess to a fellow alcoholic, because there's no commentary on it. It's a confession to clear the soul. How many people who are not alcoholics and addicts get the chance to clear the soul? I'd love to have some people like Michelle, Vanessa, also coming on here at 7 o'clock in the evening and giving your stories. I'd love it. Adrian, I want you on here as well, my brother. And I can't see him. I'm even blind with glasses, but it's all right. Who else is on here? Just give me an inbox. And this is not a pedestal forum. This is a forum for the people, by the people, to help the people. That's it, klar. Nothing else to do. Number 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. We've all got defects of character. Kurt, who works for me, he probably doesn't have defects of character, but I've got defects of character, and everyone else, and Graham the Great, everyone else has got defects of character. And we have to work on those defects of character. Then we get to step 7. We humbly asked Him to remove all these defects of character. So we're asking God, hey, help me, God. I may get angry quickly. I may be dishonest. I may be impatient. I may be greedy. Anything. We will ask God to remove it. Step 8, we humbly ask Him. Step 8, we made a list of all the persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them. What a problem. Sorry, I'm just going to light the cigarette because it is illegal. Okay, Winston. Sorry, folks. When we make amends, I tell the youngsters here, don't go into the mode of being here for 1 month and then you want to tell your mother and father how sorry you are. First, build up a solid, hi Tracy, first build up a solid recovery. And once you've built up a solid recovery, then you can go and make amends to your parents, to your ex-boss, ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, you know what these days, whatever you want to call them. Don't stop drinking and stop drugging and then you want to make amends immediately, because those are not sincere amends. Those are amends to get the door open. Those amends is to show your parents, hey, well, I'm really doing this program. Nonsense, man. You need good, solid sobriety that when you make the amends, your parents are going to say, thank you, my boy, thank you, my girl. I believe you, and we trust God, and we move forward. Number 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to injure them or others. You can't be going to Mavericks and having an affair with some chick, and she's married, and then when you decide to sober up and get sober and you want to go make amends, you go knock on the woman's husband's, on his, sorry Diane, but I have to do it, on the door, and you say, listen here, my friend, while I've been drinking and drugging, I've been having an affair with your wife for 5 years. Because then you're just going to stir up everything again. There you must just do it in the quiet, in your step 5, not in your step 9. You cannot, haven't we injured enough people in our lives? Haven't we as alcoholics and addicts, and everything that goes with it, injured enough people in our lives? We need that to be taken away. Then we get to step 10. We continue to take personal inventory. And when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. Now, who, as the alcoholic and addict, who actually wants to admit our wrongs? But if I've caused someone wrong today, let me sort it out today. If I've been maybe rude to someone, or maybe I wasn't good to my partner, or whatever, let me sort it out today so I can have personal inventory, so I can go to bed without resentments. We must remember, resentments is the number 1 killer of every addict and alcoholic. Resentments and pride. I left Alcoholics Anonymous at the age of 25. It took me 16 years, 17 years to come back into Alcoholics Anonymous, only because of pride. Step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. God can, I can't. If I'm going to be the pilot, we're going to crash land again. I crash landed too many times in my life. That took me to prison. Hi, David. Pastor David, how are you? That took me to prison. That took me to the streets of this country because I wanted to be the pilot. I didn't want to hand over. Instead of going into the co-pilot seat, which was easier. Step 12. And this is after we've been through the 11 steps. Having had a spiritual awakening. It's important, this people. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these 11 steps. On step 12, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Our duty as sober addicts and alcoholics, serve God, trust God, clean house, and serve people. Serve those that are still struggling. We are servants of the people. We have been brought back from the edge of hell. And God brought us back with a purpose. And that purpose is to go and help our fellow alcoholic and addict, no matter who they are, where they come from, if they're rich, if they're poor, if they're black, if they're white, etc. Service keeps us sober. I lead RAEL, but I'm a servant of God. God leads RAEL. The day I put myself on the pedestal that I'm the founder of this and this and this and this, I'm going to lose it. Anything I put above my sobriety, I lose. Anything I put above my sobriety, I lose. When things were going well in my past, I didn't need God. God was there when there was shit going to hit the fan. When I'm standing in front of the magistrate and I'm saying to the magistrate, hey, God, get me out of this one, please, man. And I'll never drink again. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. Until you get out of the court case and you walk out of the steps down the main road and you go and drink again. This time to celebrate. Many of us exclaimed, and I'm closing off now because this is the end of the introduction of how it works in recovery. It's 2 pages. It's 2 pages. But it has to be worked daily. Daily and daily. Many of us exclaimed, what an order. I can't go through with it. Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. I got Pastor David on here, and I remember a while ago, I've been there many times to his church, and I've been lucky enough to share the message at his church. And I remember one night he said to me, Anthony, we're going to have an outreach in Delft. So I said to him, hey, Pastor David, that's cool. And we went in a street. And I shared my story in that street. First the pastor spoke. First they sang, then the pastor spoke. And I shared my story in that street. I carried the message to the still suffering. Whether they were in their houses, because I tell you, when Pastor David puts on the loudspeakers, I think the whole of Delft and Cape Town can hear it. We must humble ourselves to go and serve anywhere. It's not only going to speak in a massive stadium in Ohio or in a bunkie in Israel or at a beach meeting in Bali. It's to go into the townships. It's to go into the people. It's to take the message to the people. They may not like the noise, but they may love the message. They may love the message. And that's why I commend Pastor David, who always takes his message to the people. Always takes his message to the people. I remember one day we were in a tent and the wind was blowing. And we were doing a tent crusade, or Pastor November was doing the tent crusade with his wife. And I tell you, the wind was blowing. I thought, okay, God, this is it. It's done. We're over. We're going to be blown. Return quickly. And it was the most beautiful night, because I saw that night how people who were walking past the tent just came in and gave their lives to the Lord. Things like that you never forget. I have more memories than that than speaking, and I'm saying this humbly now, than speaking all around the world. Because they'll be touching our people, touching God's people. People not a lot of money, but they also need help. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. We're never going to be that whatever. We're never going to get to that apex, but we're trying. My mother's proud of me today, but she wasn't proud of me 15 years ago. Our description of the alcoholic, this is the end of it. The chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholics, addicts, and we could not manage our own lives. Our lives were unmanageable. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he was sought. I'm just going to get the promises here quickly, Graham. You got them here? That God could and would if he was sought. And Alcoholics Anonymous is a spiritual program. Narcotics Anonymous is a spiritual program. Really spiritual. We get agnostics in here. We get God bless you, David. And Diane. I don't believe in God. So I said, okay, cool. You don't want to believe in God? That's your issue, my bro. But you're gonna do this program. And 99.9 leave here and they've given their lives to the Lord without pushing it. Without pushing it. Now, what I've just explained to you is 2 pages of how it works of Alcoholics Anonymous. Of any recovery center. They read this page. Let me just explain to you. This page 58. If anyone wants a book, I'll get it for you. They read this page, 58 and 59, at every AA meeting, at the start of every AA meeting in the world. In the world. Wherever you go, if it's a meeting or a convention or a conference, they read page 58. What I've just read to you now and the steps. These are the promises that they wrote in 1935, 1939, when Dr. Bob and Bill came together. These are the promises. And they've come true for me. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we are halfway through. Before we're halfway through, we're going to be amazed. I never believed that I'd open up an organization called RAEL. I never believed that I'd have a small recovery center. I'd never believed I'd travel the world. I'd never believed that I'd make amends with my parents and with my brothers and sister. I never believed I'd be sober to bury my dad. Never believed that. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. You know how nice it is to wake up in the morning and the first thing for is a bottle or a pipe? That bottle that became the master, that you couldn't operate without the bottle. If the bottle wasn't there. I remember once going to a bottle store in Milnerton. I still had a car then. And I was driving around. They only used to, in those days, it was a bit discriminatory, but I'm a bit older than most of these youngsters. And driving around for that 10 minutes. It felt like I'd just run the comrades for 2 days. Shaking and shivering. To get my medicine. A new freedom, a new happiness. Just waking up in the morning without thinking, okay, I must go get this drug. I need a kickstart now. I must take a drink just to stop the shakes. I must take a drink just to do this. I must take a drink just to do this. Just that freedom. How's it, Richard, baby? We will not regret the past or wish to shut the door on it. The past is the past. If someone comes to me now and says, you did this and you did this, you did this, I can turn around and say to him, yes, I did that all. But God has dropped the charges. We will not regret the past or wish to shut the door on it. Why must I? Why must I? We will comprehend the word serenity and we'll know peace. And serenity is peace. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference. That peace of knowing, I didn't cause any shit last night. Where did I black out? Who did I puke on? What did I take? What did I do? And you lie in your bed and you've got the duvet half over your head. Is that the cops? Every time the telephone rings, in those days it was the telephone and it wasn't the cell phone. And mom coming in there and telling you, Anthony, what a disgrace. I tell you, if there's one thing that I will hopefully be remembered for in my legacy is that I'll do everything in my power for people older than me. I'll do everything for people younger than me as well. But I love the elderly. Maybe it's my way of giving back over what I did to my mother and my father. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, this is written in this book, we will see how our experience can benefit others. If my experience can save one man from drinking or drugging for the rest of his life, God has used me wisely. And I know there's a lot out there, and I'm saying this humbly. A lot of people have walked through the rail doors broken and today are sober, living beautiful lives, married, with children, with jobs. Not by the power of Anthony Hall, but by the power of God, who installed into Anthony Hall a gift, a calling, to carry the message to the still suffering addict and alcoholic. My whole life's dedicated to that. Nothing else. I want nothing else in my life. We'll see how our experience can benefit others. That's why it's so important to go to meetings and be of service. It's so important, people. Our very lives depend on each other and God. And that's correct, Duncan. Things that used to baffle us, we don't have to go and scramble for a drink or for a drug to make it better. There's nothing that a drink or a drug can make my life better. Nothing. And for you that don't know Duncan Hall, we're not related, we should be. He did a gig in London for us. I think he was Mick Jagger's front man once. And he did a gig for us and they donated money and they sent it to us. So thank you, Duncan, once again, on behalf of everyone at Rail. And we don't want more money, but another nice gig would be lovely. And I'd love you to share your experience on whenever you'd like to, Duncan. If you can just give me an inbox of the night that you'd want to share it. I'd love to hear your story, Duncan. Love to. Anyone here. All the people that are on here, share your story. This is our wall. This is our wall for each other. There's no egos here. Ego is when we're edging God out. Can't afford to do that. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. And I tell you, it disappears. I remember Richie Baby, who's on here now. Coming into Rail, broken, done, gone, over, done. And I said to him, Richie, you'll be a Springbok again, my boy. And that night he came home, or he got the news that he had become a Springbok. Tell me how to stop the tears. When my manager, Kurt Schuller, what has he become? A man I'm so proud of. Maybe 35, he feels like a son to me. Because we talk and we listen. And we love each other. And it was so good last night to see his mother. He's always on, but his dad on. Hello, Debbie. With your pink hair. Happy birthday, Debbie. Believed you had a beautiful birthday. We'll see you on Caledon. Debbie's the local DJ of Caledon FM. So if anyone wants to go on the radio, contact Debbie or contact me and I'll contact Debbie. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. In the drinking and drugging world, all we wanted to do was take. Now we give. It's not about me anymore. It's not about me wanting to be the star of the band. It's about giving now. We've taken too much in our lives. I always say to the guys, no matter what you stole, I didn't steal from my parents, but I did. And the thing that I stole from my mom and dad was time. Other stuff can be replaced, not time. Time and tide waits for no man. Time and tide waits for no man. And that's why I always say to these young men here, one day you must look after your mother and your fathers. It's your duty. Self-seeking will slip away. It's not about me anymore. It's not about me. Maybe some people think that, hey, you're arrogant, you're this, you're that. That's the way I talk. I'm not going to change it for anyone. That's who I am. But God knows my heart, and so do I. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Adrian having a beautiful life now. And there's others that I can see on the screen here. They're starting that road with their loved ones. And they've done that with their loved ones before. But we believe this is the time. Cometh the time, cometh the man. I'll never forget when Richard put his Springbok colours on the other night. He still gave me a Springbok shirt, hardcore. But I don't wear it outside because I'd never earned it. It was one of the proudest moments of my life. Because he demonstrated to the world, no matter how far down the scale you've gone, you can get back up there. And he was as further down as one could go. But he came back there. I remember Adrian so clearly. Strong man. The way he could work. Beautiful people, man. Duncan, I never forget things like when people are so kind to us. Duncan, a couple of years ago, when he brought us a guitar, that guitar takes pride of the place here. Doesn't get abused. Doesn't get messed. These are people who love each other. And the more we can love, and especially in this country, the more we can love, we can have a country that is loved. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. Most of us alcoholics and addicts, by the time we stopped, we had nothing. We were gone. We were over. We were done. We just had reams of debt. I used to know the sheriff by first name. Because he used to rock up there and say, Anthony, this has to be paid. This has to be paid. Yeah, okay, no, sheriff, we'll get there. Johnny, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's not like that anymore. It's not like now you suddenly want to become rich. Because you learn that there's a material thing. That's so true, Duncan. Stronger together, alone we die. We must stand for each other. Because we know the battles all of us have been through. And I'm not just talking about the alcoholic and the addict. I'm talking about the parents and the loved ones and the sisters and the brothers and the wives and the girlfriend. What have they been through? We've got our program. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. As Duncan was saying earlier, we don't need a drink or a drug now to sort anything out. Our lives can't become better by sorting something out. We get a lot of criticism because we're an organization that's very open. We are not anonymous. We don't keep anything hidden. And until it stops working, I'll never change it. We can never change it. Debbie and Michelle up there, and Diane, Gordon, Lee J, Kurt, Adrian. Adrian, sorry I forgot your wife's name. I drank a lot in my day, my brother. But send her my love. And this is the last promise. And all those promises come true in my life. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us, which we could not do for ourselves. God is doing for ourselves what we could not do for us. God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. This program works if you work it. If you want sobriety, you will find sobriety. If you give your life to sobriety, to God, you will find it. You will find a new life. Never give up 5 minutes before the miracle, guys. Parents, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracles, but don't enable. Once you have drawn the boundary with the alcoholic and the addict, you never, ever withdraw the boundary until such time there is recovery. Until such time they're doing the next right thing. Until such time that you know them better than anyone else, that they're doing the next right thing. And in closing, I just want to encourage you. And Dr. Bob, who was the co-founder, and I'm very blessed to have been in his house in Ohio. He wrote this in the same book. I spend a great deal of time passing on what I learned to others who want and need it badly. I do it for 4 reasons. It's my sense of duty. Someone was there to pull this drunk out of the pit and say to me, listen here, brother, there is a better life. I can never forget the man who carried the message to me. You don't have to like the man who carries the message. You just have to remember the man who carried the message and remember what he told you. I had a hard sponsor. I had a hard man who took me into sobriety. He was hard. Mike was a hard man. If I had a wusia, I would still be drunk or dead today. It's a sense of duty from the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. Number 2, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure for me to carry the message wherever I'm asked. Whether I'm asked to do it under the tree, in a tent, in a stadium, 1-to-1, it's a pleasure because I've been given a new lease on life. I've been given a life. I destroyed 25 years, but today I've got a life. And it's not all roses and sunshine, but at least I've got a life. Number 3, and we're finishing now, my friends. Because in doing so, I'm paying my debt to the man who took his time to pass this message on to me. A man for no payment. He was passing the message for twofold. To help this drunk, this addict, and in the same breath to keep himself sober, which I try and do today. And the last point is, because every time I do it, I take out a little more insurance for myself against a possible relapse. I do not have another recovery in me. I may have another relapse. But I trust God that if I continue to do what I'm doing today, and I do it tomorrow, etc., 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 I won't need to relapse. And I won't relapse. Because it's all dependent on my spiritual condition, whether I do relapse or I don't relapse. The hardships that come my way, I learn to handle them. No drug or alcohol is going to get in the way. We need to carry this message. We need to give hope to parents. To every mother and father out there tonight, there is hope. To every single mother and father, brother and sister, while we carry on with hope, we'll always have that chance of success. That chance of finding a new way. A chance of finding a higher way. And no longer taking the low road. We don't need that anymore. Hey Debbie, we don't need that anymore. We need, and what we've got, is this wonderful thing called life. And to live life on life's terms. No one's bigger, no one's greater. We're all servants. And as you serve, we'll be served. I want to close with the word grace. The G is for the gratitude of being able to speak to my friends here tonight. The gratitude to see old friends online. The gratitude that God gave me another day sober. The gratitude that I can lead 30-odd young men at the RAEL organization, to employ them to take this message and go live a life and become a productive member of society. The R is the respect. I today have self-respect. I respect myself. But more than that, I respect everyone else. I respect everyone on this chat show at the moment. I respect you for listening to me. High respect. Even though some of us on this channel are going through difficult times. Just remember, Michelle, this too shall pass. Remember that. This too shall pass. The A is the acceptance. I accept that I suffer from an illness, from a disease, and call it what you want, of alcoholism and drug addiction. Amen, Diane. Incurable. As long as I stay, but curable as long as I stay away from the next drink. 1 is too many and 1,000 is too little for this alcoholic. 1 is too many and 1,000 is too little for this alcoholic. The C is the courage to change. It takes courage to change. When you're in the spiral of alcohol and drugs, and you can't see the way out, and when I was on the streets or when I was in prison and there was no ways that I could see any way out, the courage to change came over me. And the E is the empathy. The empathy for the still suffering addict and alcoholic. And families that we have tortured and we have held hostage, that we can give them back their son, their daughter, their father, or their mother. Too many alcoholics and addicts are committing suicide during this time of what is happening around the world. We're not bad people, we're sick people. Your children is not a bad son or a bad daughter, they're sick. The medicine is available. The great physician is available as well. Let's take him and let him guide us as we walk this happy road with its potholes. Freedom. May God bless you. May God keep you, my friends, till we meet again. Amen.